We're chasing comedy, working on jokes, working on bits, seeing what sticks, seeing what stinks. We're chasing comedy, politics and current events, cultural shifts and psychological bents, the daily news, your grandpa's views, conspiracy theories, trending Google queries. Either way, it's all okay. We're chasing comedy. So listen up and we'll lay it all out, whether you're seeking wisdom or zoning out. Have your fill, it's all just for the mill, with Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy. We're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.
All right, so here we are. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, just getting all the tech stuff here.
I'm going through my my comedy notes, seeing if there's anything that I have anything to add to tonight's festivities.
Festivities. I like that word. You know, you don't hear it enough.
Oh, to be back and delighted.
There's a lot of like old things people say that I'm so surprised. Like when a comic says, without further ado, I can't believe people still say that. I mean, that is literally 65 years old. And I don't know if it was good when someone came up with it. You know what I mean? I think it's further ado. I think it's the stupidest thing ever. I hate it. Whenever a comic does it, I'm like, you got nothing.
I don't even know what ado is.
I don't know. It's
Does anyone?
Further. It's I don't know. It's far away, I guess. I don't know. It's ado. I don't know.
It seems
what
like it's without any further festivities or any further, you know.
I mean, I get what it is, but I just think it sounds. I just hate it. It sounds so like it's like clubs and colleges or something. Like it just sounds like whenever a host says it, I'm just like, ugh. With your further ado.
Without further ado, Adam Holtz, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, unless you're saying Ed Sullivan, it doesn't make sense. Like it's just, it's like unless Ed Sullivan's saying it. Okay, that's cool.
Okay,
that's
all right.
Without
that's good.
further ado, the Beatles, or however you talk.
Yeah. right here on our stage. Without any further.
There it is.
I don't know what ado is.
Oh, you're my voice guy. You're my morning radio voice guy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hi.
Good morning. The honky train.
Yeah. So what do you want to do? You want me to start?
I was doing it. This was me starting, by the way. I don't know if you realize how good I am.
I didn't even feel the knife.
This is me. I do this all the time. If I go into some thought, that is us starting.
I didn't even feel the knife. I didn't feel the shit going.
I mean, I'm already late, so I jumped in, and just so you know, I was going to go off on things people say that they shouldn't continue to say. You know what I mean? There's outdated phrases. I was going to go down that road, but you know, it may not be the road you want to go down, which is fine. You can steer somewhere else. That's fine.
You know what? I only do that when I got nothing. Like I can't think of another phrase.
We were funny. The further ado thing was funny. We were getting it. We were figuring it out. But you know, it's
and then immediately I'm like, I got nothing to follow ado. So without further ado, I'm going to move to my bit, right? Because I don't.
Without further ado, we awkwardly.
Without further ado about the further ado thing, I'm going to move to thing which I have much ado about.
Much ado.
Much more to say about.
No, you just you were in Aruba. How was Aruba? I mean, that's
Aruba was great. Very very fun. Time was had by all. I suddenly got to this. I was on stage. It's funny. I used to go to some road gigs, and even though I've been doing comedy for a very long period of time, do you ever have that feeling that you still only have like 45 minutes?
Oh,
like, you know,
I feel like I only have 7 half the time.
Yeah. It's the funniest thing. And for most of it's like the weirdest thing. Like I'll be like, I don't know if I got enough like for this group, because it's like more like a cruise ship audience. So you can't do certain things. You can't do politics. You can't do dirty stuff. So, but you can be edgy. You can be more edgy, but they don't like, and so very often when I go down there, I'm like mining my act going, what am I what do I have like here? Because it's like I don't even know what I do here, and I always listen to old tape. This was the first time that I went down there, and I was like, I got the light, and I was like, I just started. It felt like I had not even begun to get into my stuff, and that's a weird thing for me. Like I suddenly was like, usually I'm like, what? I gotta save a closer, and what am I gonna close it? And at this place, I was like, wait a minute. They gave me the light. I just got up here, and it wasn't. I'd been up there for for a while, and I felt good about that. And I
always tell comedians this: if you didn't get to something, that's a good set.
Yeah,
like if you have like a good response and you didn't get to something you wanted to get to, that's a good show. Like that means you didn't rush through it. So yeah, it's always good.
Although to revisit one of the bits that we were working on is like something about the Chuck Norris juggling chainsaw or something about Chuck Norris. Yeah, none of that really hit. Like it's the funniest thing. I was like, none of that hit. Like, it was so. I was like,
really?
He once rode a mechanical bull for 9 hours while juggling chainsaws and listening to Chuck Norris read the Declaration of Independence. There's so much information for the audience to process, I think.
Yeah,
and they just were like, "Wow, that's a lot of." Wait, what? Like, how does that scan? And so it's supposed to be like
applause break that you're saying a lot of things, because people do that sometimes.
Only when I know. Thank you. I know. Dustin has figured out one of my tricks, right? You know what I mean? If you don't have quality, beat him with quantity. Okay, that's what I always say. Yeah. I always said, look, I was desperate. Like if I couldn't write anything, I'll just write 75 of them, and then they'll just appreciate the volume of it. Like that way, it's a
lot. I mean, I'm impressed by it. I clap when I hear people say a lot of things because I'm very short-winded. So it's like,
well, I did on MTV Half Hour Comedy Hour. I did a thing where I said, my friends could. I always get pulled over by the police no matter what I do. Okay, they always nail me. Meanwhile, my friends could do Mach 1 backwards down alleyways, and nobody says anything to them. My friend Steve, he could drive the wrong way down a one-way street doing 90 miles an hour on two wheels, swerving at night without lights, with no seatbelt on, no license, no registration, no insurance, no plates, no muffler, with an open bottle of tequila in one hand and a burning crack pipe in the other, with an unregistered handgun on the dashboard, and two underage girls making a porno film in the back seat, while some guy's ripping tags off mattresses in the front seat. Okay, no cops for a mile. Okay, so I would just him with every possible.
See, I can't help it.
Thank you. And it's funny. The punchline always sucked on that. That was great. And then the punchline was always, if I throw a gum wrapper out my window at 3 a.m. on a deserted street, a SWAT team pulls out from behind an oak tree and nails me. Okay. Now, I thought that was really funny, but it never got the laugh. I'd always got a 6 laugh, and I always thought it should get an 8, 9, and it never did.
Yeah.
Like, it never did. I think it was, I throw a gum wrapper out my window, wasn't a big enough crime or something. I don't know. What would be a minimal crime that you could do that a SWAT, I love SWAT team. I thought that was really funny. A SWAT team. But what if I make a wrong UE, if I don't use my turn signal? What is it? No, it has to be a car thing.
Oh, it has to be a car thing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you're in your car. If I don't signal at a red light, if I make a left turn on a red light, a SWAT team, maybe that would be it. Because a gum wrapper, I thought that was funny that I glittered and they nailed me, but maybe that's not a good. Maybe it's got to be a traffic violation or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or something funnier that you throw out the window. Like a Chick-fil-A club, or something like a funny word for some food or something like that. I just threw a Capri Sun out the window, or like some sort of ridiculous thing that you would be consuming that you threw out as like a brand name of something. It could be funny.
That's funny. That could be funny. I think it's weird how the show works, because in talking about it, I just think I figured out why it's not funny, because it should be a traffic violation. I think that's my it should be what's the lowest?
I could have a hand coming out of the trunk or something like, no. This is like,
it has to be minor.
Minor.
So it has to be, if I don't signal, if I make a wrong turn on a red light, or if I go through a yellow light, it's not yellow light, but if you make a left turn without signaling, if SWAT team pulls that might get a lot. I'm going to do that tonight and see if it works, because even though that joke isn't even in my act anymore, I just want to do it justice, because I did it on TV and it didn't even work. So like that's what's funny. I
love it that you're bringing that joke back only to just see if this punchline is the punch. Yeah.
Because I want to say I'm sorry to that joke. I want to say, look, I'm sorry.
I didn't do justice. It's like one last date with your ex, you gotta, take them.
That's right. You want to get one more,
take them out.
And then you can go, thank you
for your service.
I'm glad we did this. Oh, here's one, Dustin, if you don't have anything.
I mean, I always have something, that.
Go ahead. Hogging the spotlight here. But if I go on stage and say, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brian Scott McFadden, and I'm a comedian. I know this is like and I'm a comedian, and I want to say something
obviously
like,
you're a comedian.
Well, that's my point. The joke being, and I am a stand-up comedian, which is a skill that really comes in handy in situations like this. Like something like that sucks. It never works. But I always thought that there was something funny in the saying, I'm a stand-up comedian. And, but I don't know what comes after that. But which of course I am. Otherwise I wouldn't be standing here on this stage, which is probably the main reason I'm standing on this stage. I mean, they don't give this mic to welders all the time, like something like that, where, if I was a welder, I'd be at a construction site right now. Right now there's a construction site, missing a welder. I don't know, something funny. Fill in something funny, Dustin.
So much pressure.
It's like no. Hi, my name is Brian Scott McFadden. I'm a stand-up comedian, which might explain what I'm doing here on the stage, which is why I'm holding a microphone, standing on the stage, and telling you jokes. Right.
Well, I don't think any other job. I mean, I guess you're the only comedian that's actually saying that. So I was going to say, I thought it would be like that whole thing where it's just like, not like a doctor says, "Hi, I'm the doctor." I guess he does say you're your doctor. I don't know. I'm the pilot. I guess everybody else does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm your pilot speaking, because that'd be weird if, like he said, some guy was speaking and he wasn't the pilot. I guess he's got.
Well, no, I have that.
I know you have a great joke on that, but I was just saying that it's like, I guess it's the one job that you don't need to,
But. Which probably you don't even have to tell people, which is I don't know why I'm giving my job description. It's not like you guys, you didn't think I was the cleaning guy or the mic tech guy, or I'm not here to weld the microphone, or I'm not from Best Buy, or what's that tech company that comes to your house, or
Geek
Tech
Squad,
Bros, or what is it?
Geek Squad or something?
Geek Squad. I'm not from the Geek Squad to fix the
kind
microphone
of are.
cord.
You're pretty geeky. But I'm
stand-up comedian Brian Scott. I'm a stand-up comedian, and that's probably might explain why I'm standing on the stage holding a microphone and telling jokes. They don't. If
I'll also be selling Amway after the show. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll be saying, if anybody knows what Amway is, right, anymore, right? Herbalife. I mean, even that's dated. I'll be. Oh, essential oils is funny.
Essential oils,
I'm not. Which is a stand-up comedian, because I just to be clear, because I mean maybe. You don't know. Maybe I'm here to sell you essential oils, or this could be a real estate seminar. We don't know, folks. I just want to be clear so we're all on the same page.
You could be selling timeshares. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I could be selling. I like that. We could be selling timeshare.
I'm either telling jokes or trying to sell you a timeshare.
I could be selling you a timeshare. You don't know. We got to. It's very important to be clear.
Well,
folks,
the funny thing is like in New York, especially, I feel it's very graphic centric, where it's like you don't know. Or geographic centric, where you don't know, like, a lot of people take risks on going into these spaces and assuming that it's like a comedy show, but many times like going down into a basement could not lead to something good,
So see some girl having sex with a donkey is what you know what I mean? Like,
people disappear or whatever. Like the joke is like that. You just like, especially like, crappy clubs that I played and performed and ran. It was just like, you go down and I'm a comedian. You're like, what's going on?
You could say something like, I know there's a lot of magicians. I know you were hoping for a magician, a ventriloquist, or a donkey sex act. It needs a third funny one. A juggler. I know you were hoping for a magician. What would I say? A magician, a ventriloquist, or a juggler. But for those of you that are hoping for a magician, a juggler, a ventriloquist,
an illusionist.
What's that?
An illusionist.
An illusion. I don't know what I know that's funny.
Illusionist.
I know. I
Yeah.
know what it is. I was like, that is funny. That
Or
what the hell is an
hypnotist. Who's
illusionist?
the hypnotist guy? Like the hypnotist.
Oh, yeah.
Hypnotist.
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
hypnotist.
Illusionist
That's
is
funny.
basically a magician, but hypnotist
Right.
is what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I make you
for
like
those
dance
who are
like a
hoping,
chicken or whatever.
but I think juggler, a magician, or what was it? I had the
Hypnotist, illusionist,
a ventriloquist.
ventriloquist.
Ventriloquist juggler, I think that covers it. But then you have to say something like, so for those of you that were hoping for a ventriloquist, a juggler, I hate to disappoint you. But it needs a punchline. It needs like, this is not your night. So those of you that had your hopes set, your hopes up, or had your heart set on a magician, we're hoping for a juggler, a magician, or a ventriloquist. I'm going to try and let you down easy. Okay. Something like where it's something funny.
I don't love it.
I know. I don't love it yet either, Dustin. It's like, that's what I'm here. That's why I'm dragging it in.
I feel like you have a lot of jokes that are like
About the industry?
about the idea of what comedy is, what the idea of a comedy audience is, what the purpose of a comedian is, what the trajectory of a comedian. I feel like you have enough like kind of behind the inside baseball idea of what this is. Like I don't know if it. I don't know. Unless you come up with a way to make it really funny, I don't know if you need it per se. Like I don't think I necessarily.
I
feel like it's one of those stall jokes things where it's just you're not stalling, but you're just it's not you're not quite getting into the meat because you have such great material that's just ripe for the picking. I don't know if that's going to slow down the momentum for it. I don't know. Maybe it won't.
You may be right. You may be right. But even as a writing exercise, I always like to as those of you hoping for a ventriloquist, a mime. Oh, mime. There's another one. Mime.
But I don't know. I guess I don't understand why you're saying it. Like I mean, it's tongue in cheek, obviously, but I'm just curious how what's.
I know what you're saying. It does it add value? Does it take me anywhere? Does it get anything?
Sell me on it, but I'm just trying to be like an audience that's trying to the sitting there and they just
Well, I think it's because
a comedy show, and then you get up and say, "I'm the comedian. I don't know if you thought I was this."
Well, no. Well, you think? I mean, I think the reason I'm doing it is because I am writing a lot of stuff, deconstructing stand-up, talking about actual things about the stand-up art form in a kind of meta way. And I actually like doing that in a way that can make the audience laugh that isn't inside baseball-y. I don't like inside baseball. I don't like stuff that's told. I like inside baseball. Yeah.
Unless it's interesting, because sometimes it does work, and you have some stuff like that is good. And I'm not saying this isn't good. I just think it's like, I think even the idea of I'm a professional comedian, which, some comedians up here, they're part-time welders or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's interesting as well, where it's just like.
No, that's an angle.
There's some comedians that are, when they're not doing this, they're chefs or they're whatever, they're, fixing computers, and me, I'm just,
No, but there's something funny about that. If I have to show if I show you my W-9s or, your tax form, that's how you know if you're a professional comedian is I got to show you what are the forms that you can
W-9
tax. Yeah, if I show you my 1099s, and I can prove it because I'll prove it.
Well, that's funny too. So the funny thing is, what's on your W-9 is the Chuckle Hut in Jersey.
Yeah. I'm a professional
chicken, the funny chicken. Comedy place and the Circle Jerk Comedy Club. All that funny names that's on your taxes because I get taxes and I read it's funny business and the hoo-ha and all this stuff.
Right.
And it's nobody else has, W-9s where it's these ridiculous names. The Rubber Chicken,
Mike's Mirth Mausoleum in Missouri, right? It's
But if you saw my W-9, that could be funny,
No, just is this the idea that how do you define professional comedian versus, like you said, it's I'm a professional comedian, and I get, and if you don't. And if you have any doubts, I could show you my 1099s. I made meaning that you made a living doing this. I made 70. Let's say I made 125 grand last year or 75 grand last year or something like that. That's just a weird way to measure what a professional comedian is because we all know there's probably a lot of hacks that are touring the country that are making like, I don't know, 50 grand or 40 grand. How do you determine who's what a professional comedian unless you're making a living doing this? That's one metric. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a good metric, but it is one, right?
Well, I think the idea of taxes is funny. Like I wrote off like $6,000 in hats.
That's funny.
If you saw the stuff I write off,
that's funny. And you said because in very few professionals, I'm a professional comedian. I can tell you I'm a professional because last year I wrote off $6,000 in hats. Okay, and very few professionals can do that. Okay, I got to say that. That's fun. That's like like a rubber. Just my rubber chickens. I mean, I don't want to be hacked, but like rubber chickens expenses each year. I wrote. I write off.
Pens
what else would a comedian write off? That's funny. Like that's a good idea.
Yeah, just clothing and pens.
Hats is funny.
Hats.
I wrote up $6,000 in hats.
To me and ridiculousness of how many hats I wear. So it's like, but I think, I don't know. But it's I like where you're going with it. I think it's funny. I just was trying to clarify it up top, just because it's like just one of those things that is the audience going to jump on quickly, or are they just going to kind of just let you finish and then you got to kind of like start again?
Well, I have a bit about where I teach the audience how to segue.
Yes,
because because it's a segue. You don't have to do segueing if you're in many jobs. You're not required to segue.
Well, okay? I mean, maybe you are. I think when you finish your, like a doctor, he like does the surgery and then he's segueing into like.
That's fine.
Washing his hands. He's segueing into like taking the notes. I don't know. There's everything has segue. It's
okay. That's true. He has a segue from X-ray. He looking at your test results to telling you you're going to die in 6 months. He has to make a smooth segue.
Segues.
He has to smoothly segue.
Yeah.
We don't like what we don't like. We're seeing on the MRI. But on the other hand, he's got a segue where but. I
don't know if any of this will work, but it's very funny.
Yeah, none of this is going to work. No, but I'm saying none of this is going anywhere. But all right, well,
that's sweet. It's okay. Sometimes jam. Most of the time you jam on a note that's not good, but you just love the feeling of it. It's fun.
But I mean, I like I'm a professional stand-up comedian. And I like to say, and my job is I don't have to write jokes anymore because the world is just handing them to me.
Yeah, right? That was funny. We talked about that. That was a good one.
Yeah. So that like I was at the airport. Boom, I'm in. I got another thing. If you unless you have something you want to work on, I got another thing. Okay,
you're good. We'll make it about you. It's fine.
Yeah. I know it's another airplane thing, but it's the whole thing is about the fact that they get on the microphone when you get on the plane. And they, they announce your tax bracket. That I have the joke where they announce your tax
about
bracket.
Getting on the plane, like who gets on first. Yeah,
exactly. So the order, it's a great bit. It's a killer bit. But I suddenly hit on an idea that I said, well, what other areas in life do you want to publicly shame me? At the airport, why not point out where all the areas I've fallen short on? Is there it's a very strange thing to single out your financial status as the most humiliating thing. But we'd like to board people with good, healthy relationships and an impressive stock portfolio and who have managed to keep in shape and have a good number of sexual conquests under their belt.
And anybody else with a limp.
No, it's got to be the other way around where it's people. It's like first
successful
class
people, and then it's people that have
yes, and then so we want people with a very impressive array of healthy relationships, people that can do more than 10 pull-ups, saved a lot for retirement, and had made some very impressive investments, and a solid career trajectory. Everybody else is in Group B, you know what I mean,
but I do like the idea of it's rich and cripple. It's like rich people. True. And then and because the disabled people sometimes get on before the other people.
Right. That's my point. Is that we want we want it, that the whole thing is about in what other areas in life have I failed to measure up that you want to announce on the microphone.
Yeah,
right?
Basically, yeah. No. I get the bit. I think it's funny, but I just like the idea of like, you're an exceptional standout in your career, or your mother drank during her pregnancy. You know what I mean? Like it's two people that.
What was that last one? What? What was? Wait, what?
It's like you get on the plane early because you're an exceptional like entrepreneur and you went beyond and very successful, or you get on the plane early because your mother drank during her pregnancy. Like you're disabled.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's funny. Wow. Right. But oh God.
I mean, it's another way to go. So I'm not. You'd have to say that, but you could say something, or you got drunk and fell off a balcony in college, or whatever. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be as dark as that. I just mean there's just something.
Right.
It's funny about the 1-2, where it's like you're either, you have 6 businesses, or you have 6 toes. I don't know. Like there's just something funny.
I like the idea of I like a subtle approach to this, like where somebody, and then next up are the people that married their high school sweethearts and made a lot of bad choices.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm saying? Like the first girl they met in high school, married the first girl, not your high school sweetheart. That's it. Married the first girl that liked them in high school, and they've been miserable ever since. That's like, something like that, or that they dated in high school or something, or made a lot of bad choices. Any other areas of life? Any other humiliating public ranking rituals you want to engage in before I get on the plane?
I think it'd be let's get out of the airport, and there's other spaces for this. It's just like like a Chipotle, who can afford the guacamole? You know what I mean? That's a class divider. It's like when you say no guacamole, you always want guacamole. You're just keeping it tight. You know what I mean? When you're that guy, you're like, hey, would you like it? No, I'm good. You want it.
I'm good. I'm good.
You always want it. There's nobody that doesn't like guacamole.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, if there's another class of I remember going to Disneyland, and we went this last time, and we bought we paid an extra $200 and got the zip pass. And we felt like Elvis walking around, just front of the line, see you losers later,
Okay. Right.
They're just baking in the sun, and we're just like, whoo, that's something
funny.
else. There's other realms of life where
Have you done a bit about this?
No, this is for you as well. Just the idea of just other things that is a class system, because you have such a good class system thing. So let's get you. You could go somewhere else. Was what I'm saying. Other dynamic. Just instead of the airport, you could go other places. Whether it be food, whether it be
I could. I guess the intention was because it could be a very short piece. Like it could be a 3-liner where I just go.
But the idea of class is genius, and it's great, and it's what's happening right now. It's so on the pulse of that's the thing. This government, if you're rich, this right now, what's happening is awesome. Mm-hmm. It is awesome.
Yeah.
If you're a billionaire, this world is amazing.
This is the
government is awesome. The guys in charge are awesome. But if you're not, it's like chaos. And so there's just something about, I don't know, just the classes. I think you're onto something with the class system stuff, because the airport thing is excellent. You already have that. It's perfect. But and you could add other things to make it a little extra bow, which I know you like. But I think you could also explore the idea of classism, in this world we live in, because it's very.
I'm gonna mull that over. That's true.
Yeah, well, just the idea of just the it's always started with this, kings and queens, and that's why we always need a Robin Hood. You always need a Luigi. You always need somebody.
That's funny. No, but comparing, he steals. He gives to the rich by killing the rich. He gives to the poor by killing the rich. That's our version of Luigi as Robin Hood.
That's
you
what
know?
I'm saying. Yeah, but you know
Wait,
what I mean.
wait. What kind of gun did Luigi have? Does
he
anyone
made
know?
it, I think. It's like a 3D gun, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like
it was a
printer
ghost gun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
3D
it was a
gun.
Oh, that's hilarious! Like, wouldn't that would be really funny? Like Robin Hood had a 3D printer. You know, like
made a
that
bow.
was like,
He made a bow.
yeah, a 3D print. A Robin Hood tried to ditch the bow and arrow, the crossbow in Central Park. Like I mean, I don't. There's nothing really funny.
It's great. It's just freestyling.
But there's something about Robin Hood. I don't know about you, but he stole from the rich and he gave to the poor, and this guy steals life from the rich and and gives to the poor by killing the rich. Or I don't know what the joke is, but there's something.
I mean, it's you could throw that in there, or just just classism in general is interesting to me.
By the way, have you noticed that there are some, or maybe you don't agree. We can edit this out, but I've noticed that
I love this. Keep going. What do you got?
No, there's certain. Have you noticed there's a certain good? I've noticed some funny right-wing comedy, which used to always be the thing that you never saw. Like it was like there's no right-wing. Good. Like when Dennis Miller went right wing, people were like, he stopped being funny. He stopped being funny. And yet I'm seeing some comics that are doing legitimately what I perceive to be going, that's a really good joke, right? Like that's funny. That's a really funny sketch. There's funny people doing right wing comedy. Now I'm not saying, and so I wonder what your thoughts on that. If you have any about this, or we can edit this out, right?
No, we don't have to edit it out. I mean, George Carlin, the first half of George Carlin is left wing. The second half of George Carlin is right wing. Like, every type of comedy, like is
it right wing or is it just nihilism? Because
I mean, it's going after everybody. I feel like once I feel like a guy like that. I mean, obviously he's not right wing in the sense of what that is exactly, but I think he's definitely. Censorship and making, that we can't say certain things. That's very right to me, going after the right. And then, I'm just saying it's like, I think if you're doing it with like, that is your goal and end all is to be this right wing or anything type of comic. Like you're just a labeled of a certain group. I think that's, I don't know, lame and just doesn't. I don't feel that. I think those people will work to a certain extent, but I feel like the Kumia channel fell apart. I feel like the idea of what that was there, and then it just kind of fell apart. I don't think people really wanted it.
But I'm not even talking about those guys. Like I really am. I guess I would have to like name names, but I'm noticing that in the fact that liberals have become very how shall I say the ones who are perceived to be more sensitive in the humor realm and supportive of some aspects of censorship that used to be the purview of and perception of the right when it was right wingers closing down and saying you can't say this, you can't say that. There's a perception of like, oh, that's offensive. When I see offensive, it's usually coming from the liberal camp, unless you say something about Trump and then everybody flips out, right? It seems like there's that ultra sensitivity, which is hypocrisy off the charts on that end. So
I don't know. I think we're all full of both. I say the R word sometimes, like if the crowd deserves it, whatever. I don't really.
If the crowd deserves it, right? If the crowd deserves to hear the R word.
Yeah. Okay. You guys show up on a short bus? How can you not get that? That's hilarious,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, my first television thing, I'm doing slave jokes on Showtime. Like, I don't, I feel like I'm doing what guys are doing. I did 20 years ago. Like that Austin scene. I was doing that 20 years ago. Lampanelli was trying to buy jokes from me. Like, it was like I came out of the gate swinging. And so when I see people try to be edgy now, I'm like, whatever. I mean, there was always, who's the guy that was always funny? He was friends with Geraldo and all those guys on Tough Crowd. DePaulo is always doing kind of that thing, and he continues to do it. And I think he's funny. He's a good comic. So it's like, as long as you're a good comic, I don't care what side you land on. You know what I mean? Like there's comic like Cat Williams. I don't agree with all that, but I think he's funny at what he does, so it makes me laugh. And so I think as long as you're good at what you do, and it's a different perspective, it's funny. I don't care. I don't know. I think comedy's the one place that shouldn't have a left or a right monitor. Like it should just be open to. It's like music. Like I don't know. It should be open. It shouldn't have some sort of like thing that says it's got to be this, it's got to be that. Like I can play any room, so can you. Like it doesn't matter. Right. I mean, I've dropped the ball. I remember early on in the 216 era, I did some Trump jokes in Long Island, and they almost escorted me out. It was rough. It was like they did not want to hear that. It was a firehouse, and they were not. And then I turned it and tried to kind of like, no, let's make fun of black people, and they still were like, no, man, you made fun of our leader, and so. That's a really, but I see that we're going down this road, but I find that so fascinating. What I find so fascinating is that the idea of deification and authority worship is so anathema to me that I can't even get my head around it. Like I don't care who's in power. I think they should be the objects of mockery and ridicule. And I thought that's what comedy was, and I thought that's what people got mad at. Yes, that's what Mad Magazine was built on. Yes,
right. But then again, Dustin, I always say this, and we always say this, but then I think back and I go, I hate to like poke the balloon here on this concept of like, but wasn't, and I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. I believe that Lenny Bruce was incredibly supportive and a fan of JFK. A big fan of JFK, meaning that when he was in office, I believe, sure. I believe, I thought that he was a big fan of that guy, and he was the president, someone who should be mocked and subject to mockery. So I don't know. I guess maybe you can be a fan of a politician as long as you're also being a bit recognized your position as an iconoclastic person. Who
that's the problem. You're not supposed to be a fan of a politician.
No, I know.
You're supposed to be a fan of the Rolling Stones, not a politician.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I guess you can be, but that's my point. Is Lenny Bruce was, I think. And so does that, and Lenny Bruce has this, he's this counterculture figure who was this anti-establishment guy, but I think he was a big fan of JFK.
Yeah, but he was breaking down the Catholic Church. So, in result, that's kind of, going against what, JFK was about. No, I'm with you 100%. I just feel like, it's just really weird. It's a weird time because when I was a kid, I remember, we always made fun of Ronald Reagan with his jelly beans, and we always made fun of Jimmy Carter with his peanuts and his drunk brother and his 6-pack of beer, whatever. Like, I feel like it's Roger Clinton and the thing, and we've been continuously making fun, of like, when Obama came out, it was just like, everybody, that was the funniest part was when Obama came out, every comic had a joke on a black president, but they were making it like he's got rims and like music, like, no, wrong kind of black guy.
But they weren't jokes. They weren't jokes that had a pointed like Reagan. I remember ruthless jokes against Reagan by, the likes of the Bill Hicks, let's say, even though that wasn't Reagan.
Dennis Miller and all those guys. Yeah.
But there was, I mean, Belzer said, his let me tell you what his philosophy is. I'm rich. I think that was his joke. Like that. I think that was a Belzer joke. I vaguely recall that being his actual joke. That he goes, people want to talk about Ronald Reagan's philosophy. Here's his philosophy. I'm rich. You okay? Yeah. So that's a very pointed critique. Not one that's like. Not one that's like, the president's black, so he's gonna, rims or whatever. There was a.
I had a drone joke about Obama. murdering people. Like we all had
You
pointed.
did? What was
Yeah.
what was it? I want to hear it.
I'm kidding.
I want to hear it. Wait a second. You can't introduce that. I'm dying to hear the Obama drone joke. Wait a minute. I don't have. You go. Every comic had an Obama drone. I didn't have one. Wait a minute. What?
I'm totally kidding. But no, I think there was definitely policy stuff, about Obama and whatever. And, I remember I did have some Obama jokes that were about policy, and I forget some of them. But I think, the gay marriage thing was a big thing. And I remember that a lot of us kind of tapped into that and, different things, that was happening in the White House and counterculture stuff. And, which Obama had to do with. Obama was just a pretty good president. That's the problem with Obama. He wasn't as funny as these other guys because he was actually a good president. So I don't think people had material like making fun of him as much because it was like, when he spoke, it was inspiring, when he did things, I felt he was trying to unite. Like there was a whole lot of things happening with him. But,
So,
whatever.
Okay. So maybe that's it.
But I think the idea of right and left and, but it's, it just, I don't know. I think it just depends. I feel like I have some stuff that leans left and I have some stuff that leans right. I still
want to know what the Obama drone. I'm still waiting for the Obama drone joke. I'm sorry. I can't let that go.
We've had enough politics today. I don't want to take it. I don't want Adam's editing to be just off the days.
No. Moving on.
No, I think that's an interesting point. Is just since we're not throwing in a lot of bits today, we can just talk about the idea of where comedy's headed. No, and I think it's headed in different directions.
I just think it's funny that what counterculture. The word counterculture is such a fascinating word because in the 60s that was called the counterculture, and meaning that the culture was the 50s. And button-down ties and Madison Avenue and Dwight Eisenhower. So the counterculture was hippies. Okay, well, you know who the counterculture is now? It's it's anyone who's on the right because the culture is predominantly influenced and in Hollywood and the culture in general is very, very liberal. So and the politics is not
obviously it's not, or we would, or
What's that?
It's not that liberal. That's the situation.
You mean movies and TV or not?
No,
liberal?
I just mean the world, the country. That's why.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you got the popular vote. Like that's the delusion that people think that. That's not true, especially when you travel. It was just like, you go from town to town. It's like, those people aren't, it's not LA, New York. I always say it's New York, LA, and then one big Walmart parking lot in between. Like it's a whole nother culture that people just don't think are real. These people are real. They don't think they're real. And they are. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Blue Collar Comedy Tour, probably the biggest tour of all time. Like there's a reason for that.
Absolutely.
It's like,
but it was a market that wasn't being served, I guess.
It's wide open. So I think you should be. I think you should be more of a right comedian, Brian. I think you should get rid of this. This kind of soft liberal thinking and just kind of go in hard. Use the N word. I think you should just really just embrace it. Do some Hitler sign-offs at the end, and just have a T-shirt with a little swastika and a happy face. And hey, Brian.
By the way, the swastika wasn't. Okay,
I think you're onto something.
Bro.
I like where you're headed.
I like this merchandising idea. Okay,
I mean, I know certain markets that would do well. You would sell out in certain markets.
Yeah, I remember when the Sex Pistols that was putting on a swastika.
We talked about that last week, and I said Kanye had one too. Yeah,
it's like there you go. That's like that's edgy. I mean, whatever you want to say about it, it's edgy.
Yeah.
You can't say it's not edgy.
I was trying to do a thing where it was like when I was in high school, I was kind of like I was like a goth redneck. And where it was just like, I come from this this family where we would like fish on weekends and like, and ride motorbikes and, listen to country music for the most part or whatever. But it was like, a time where, but like I go fishing with my uncles and stuff, and they'd be like, "Are you wearing eyeliner?" It was like, there was just such a,
Oh, that's funny.
I was like, the chicks love it,
Yeah, that's funny.
I don't know if I talk about this, but it was just like, I don't know. It was like something like funny where it's just kind of like, The Cure and, something, I don't know, cured meat. I don't know, like something funny about just kind of my kind of cowpunk, upbringing, which it's very specific to me. Like I've never met too many people like me. Like Hank Williams III is probably my spirit animal. Hank Williams III, just because he's like this guy that embraces like all this stuff where it's like country and punk and everything. I don't know.
Have you talked about this direct?
I'm trying to talk about it. Like the idea is fascinating to me. I just don't like. I wore an eye patch for a while just because, not that I needed it. I was just. I was fascinated by people with eye patches. I always felt he had a good story. So I just like had an eye patch. This is high school.
Isn't that cultural appropriation of the disabled? What the hell is that? You know what I mean? Why don't you get in a wheelchair too?
It was all that Aquanet, It was like,
why don't you
concentrate? We didn't
why don't you get in a wheelchair too? Try that out.
Well, I did like a hobble leg once, but that was difficult. No, but just like, but it was the weird. I think because I had a thing with this Escape from New York, and then it was a band called Dead or Alive. I don't know. It just ended up happening, and I have an eye patch on, and it's just like I'm walking around because I think what it was like my high school had a rodeo team, and it was just like very much. So I think I was always trying to just like create chaos, like the Sex Pistols thing,
right?
Where you're just like, what are you gonna do?
Right.
And so there was a lot of that, like just rattling of this thing of trying to like freak everybody out. Like I got off on it, I think.
Right. But I mean, you were this weird. But that's funny. There's something really funny about the fact that you were like, like somebody threw. Who's like you were somebody threw a pirate and Keith Richards and a pirate into a blender. Yeah. And
Johnny Rotten
and Larry the Cable Guy. If you threw Larry the Cable Guy, Blackbeard, Johnny
Snake
Rotten,
Plissken.
And Roseanne into a
Roseanne, hilarious.
And you know what I mean? Like Roseanne, Larry the Cable Guy should be the punchline, but Larry the if you took this, that, and Larry the Cable Guy into a blender.
Sid Vicious.
It would be who's like a real famous like white trash person, and I don't mean Roseanne. I mean somebody like. Is there someone like even it could be a fictional character, like in a trailer park or
Finn or
who?
Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer.
No. It's got to be somebody too. And one of the one of the hillbillies from Deliverance. You know what I mean? Like if you took the hillbilly from Deliverance, Keith Richards, a pirate, and what's that?
Who was the guy that like he did all the commercials? Enos goes to Enos. Is it Enos? Ernest?
No, you're talking about the Hey Vern guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The Hey
Nobody's
Vern
gonna know
guy.
Who that is. Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Barely gonna know who Larry the Cable Guy is. But
No, the people will know Larry the Cable Guy. But if you said because he was in movies with famous people like in animated films too. But if you said that I'm like I don't even know how to describe myself. If you'd have to take one of the guys from Deliverance, put that somewhere in the middle. If I was a rock star, a redneck, one of the guys from Deliverance, and Larry the Cable Guy. But somebody cool. You'd have to have somebody cool in there as well, like Keith Richards.
Yeah.
If you have
say Mark Jacobs, because I dabbled in fashion. I went to Parsons.
Who's what? Yeah, you could do that. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, that's really weird. Yeah. No, but you would somebody more famous than that, like a designer,
Calvin Klein. I actually worked for Calvin Klein.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you said I was a designer, so basically, I don't even know. If you look at my resume, it's like Calvin Klein, a pirate. It's like there's a.
I am the world. Yeah.
Bluebeard, Calvin Klein. And one of the guys from Deliverance, and the banjo player from Deliverance is your punchline. The banjo player from Deliverance, okay?
That's so funny. I used to do the Deliverance joke, and then I just like I felt so good about myself that I got rid of it, and then now I'm probably going to end up bringing it back.
Yeah,
Ding,
bring
ding,
it back.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, because that's really funny. If you put you want what you want is to have, if you took a Dustin Chafin flow chart, okay, it would have to have this, if you build a bear,
More to see, and
it's like or like whatever, a genealogy chart or whatever, 23andMe, it would be. I think I'm related to Bluebeard, Keith Richards, and two of the guys, the rednecks from Deliverance, and one of the rapists and the rapist from Deliverance. I mean, like something, and maybe even the Gimp from
Pulp Fiction. Absolutely.
I don't even know why, but but that's funny. Well, we got to wrap this up soon because I actually get out of here because I have a show.
Where are
at
you
9:10.
going? Where are you going?
I got a show in Midtown. I know, it's like because you were late. Don't blame me.
I know, that's my fault. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. If you got something, I just wanted to introduce the idea of wrapping it up soon because I didn't want to, like.
No, you're fine. We can wrap it up.
I mean, we're not going to top.
It's all my fault.
The fact that you're related.
I'm gonna write stuff down. That's a new rule.
Yeah, the fact that you're related to one of the rapists from Deliverance, we can't top that.
and Sitting Bull. We got to throw the native thing.
Yes, that's right. You're an Indian. Oh my God, that's fantastic. If you put Sitting Bull, if you got a Sitting Bull, give me a real burned out rock star, not Richards. He's too cool. You'd have to be somebody that overdosed on heroin, but like
Jim Morrison.
Yeah, but it was you want somebody who's like a guitarist, like a debauched guitarist.
Dimebag Darrell.
One of the Stones, maybe famous. What's a band that fucking somebody?
One Adam, this is your forte.
Yeah. Famous dead rock
You've been waiting for this your whole life, Adam.
Yeah.
Throw out the rock stars.
Spin the dead rock star wheel. Spin the dead rock star wheel. When we have something for that, like
Cobain.
Kurt Cobain. Yeah, not Kurt Cobain, but you want somebody from the like T-Rex, somebody from the Mark Bolan from T-Rex. Or somebody like that that's like dead.
Well, they don't have to be dead. They could just be. I like the idea of like.
No, it doesn't have to be dead. You're right. But somebody who, Tom Waits or something. You know what I mean? Like somebody like that looks like they've been drinking a lot.
Yeah,
right?
that's totally. Any alcoholic is going to be.
Yeah, Tom Waits. That's good. That's a pretty good. If you're Tom Waits,
absolutely.
Bluebeard. What was Bluebeard, Tom Waits, Sitting Bull, but even like and two of the rapists from
at the end, like Clay Aiken or something, something.
But it'd have to be Hank Williams Jr. Throw a country western person in there, and then say and two of the two rapists from Deliverance.
I don't know the word rapist. I would say cast of Deliverance.
Okay, the cat. All right, cast of Deliverance or the banjo player from Deliverance.
The banjo player from Deliverance is probably better.
Then you got a punchline that's golden.
Yeah, I love it. All right, awesome, dude.
Well, folks, that's our show. It's time for us to go. Make sure to follow us, give us a like, drop us a comment, and always subscribe. We're chasing comedy on all the socials. We hope you had a gas, had some laughs, and maybe you learned something too. Until next time, we're Brian and Dustin, and we're chasing comedy.